Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Aisha Mishra and I welcome you all again on this ongoing live webinar series hosted by Education Nest. As you all know that today's topic of this webinar is Introduction to Data Privacy in the Age of AI, brought to you again by Education Nest. As we all know that we are living in a world today where every click, every scroll and every search leaves a trail. With AI advancing faster than ever, our data is being collected and analyzed in ways we often don't even realize. So this is why this session is brought to you by Education Nest so that you realize that how important our data and its privacy is. So for today, to give you insight about this webinar, we have Ms. Shimpa Shetty, who will give you insights about what data privacy is and how we can manage our data online. I welcome you, Ms. Shimpa, on this platform. Ma'am, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, IC, so much.
Okay, so before moving ahead, I would like to give you all a small intro about Ms. Shimpa. Ms. Shimpa is a Microsoft certified cloud security trainer and a cybersecurity enthusiast. With over a decade of experience in technical training, cloud infrastructure, and cybersecurity education, Shimpa is a powerhouse in the field of data protection and cloud security. She holds certifications including Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, Security Compliance, and InfoSec Train Certified Cybersecurity Fundamentals. Shimpa has delivered impactful live sessions on Azure security, conducted hands-on virtual labs, and trained diverse learners on SIEM, SOAR, IAM, and SOC operations. She combines deep technical expertise with excellent communication skills, making complex topics like AI, data privacy, and cloud security simple and relatable. She has been associated with platforms like InfoSec Train, Carve Niche Technologies, and TCY Learning, and has mentored professionals, students, and IT teams across the country. Hello, ma'am. It's a great pleasure to have you here on the platform of Education Nest. And I hope the audiences today who are joining us, who are still joining in, so have a great insights on how data privacy is important in this age of AI.
Thank you, Aishi, so much. So I'm equally excited to be a part of this webinar today.
Sure, ma'am.
Shall we now?
Definitely, ma'am. Without further ado, let's dive right into the session. You can start presenting your screen.
Sure.
It's
All
clearly
right.
visible, ma'am.
Welcome, everyone. And thank you for joining today's session. So we are here to explore data privacy in the digital age. We'll understand what privacy truly matters in this digital age and how we can protect our personal information, how organizations they can use your data ethically and securely. So we know that we live in a kind of era where data surrounds us. Like data is created from everything we do, like what we click, what we say or talk, how we talk, what we buy, where we go, everything, right? Like you must be using social media, so we all post on social media. Maybe we sometimes fill out online forms, we shop online, right? We also use health and fitness apps. So you see, in this today's digital world, we share this kind of information all the time, and that too often without even thinking about it, right? So we know, like just like currency holds the value, and it is similar to that thing, like money, if it is not handled wisely, and let's say if it is not protected, it can be misused, or it can be lost, or it can be even stolen. So you see, data, that is no different. It is similar to kind of currency, right? You have to spend it wisely. So that's why it is important to understand how we use our data and how we safeguard our data in this digital age. To understand this part, it is really critical. So let's dive in. Okay, data privacy. So as we talk about today's digital age, the term data privacy, it has become essential part of, you can say, individuals' right and trust. So data privacy basically refers to the protection of your personal information or protection of personal data and other sensitive information from being misused or any unauthorized access. Now here we are talking about personal data, right? So what personal data refers to? This is the kind of data that identifies an individual. Let's say, see, you have your name, phone number, email, address, we have credit card number, you have your passwords, we have a social security number, maybe you have IP, we have biometric data, right? So all this comes under personal data. Like as you see in this image, we have a driving license number, passport number, also we have medical history. So you see, any kind of data that identifies an individual, that comes under personal data, right? So this is really important to protect this kind of data. As an individual, you should have full control over this data, like how this data should be collected, how it should be used, or it can be like how it should be shared, right? So data privacy basically, it gives you the right and control. Like you got to decide whether to share this data or not, or if yes, how that can be shared or how much it can be shared. So this is data privacy in basic terms, just protecting your personal information. Okay, then talking about key principles, like we have some of the key principles based on which we have data privacy, or you can say data privacy, it is built on these key principles that we are going to talk about. So the first one is consent. Consent means like the companies, they must ask for your permission before collecting or using your personal data. And see in this data breach, that becomes another important element. In case in case we have any kind of data breach, or is there is any kind of compromise, so the infected user or authority, they must be informed. See, this kind of transparency, it will always help to mitigate the risk, or it can also sorry, it can also it will help to, you can say, it will help to reduce the impact of the breach, and at the same time it will help the individual to take necessary action. So it is very important that companies, they must ask for the permission before they are going to use your data. Then we have purpose limitation. So what does that mean? That means like the data, it should be collected for a clearly defined and legitimate purpose, and it should not be reused for any unrelated purpose, right? For example, let's say we have e-commerce company, right? They just save your data as your address, right, for delivering a package. But later on, this data should not be used for any kind of marketing campaigns or any kind of ad campaigns, unless like they have obtained your consent. So this will always ensure transparency, and it will also help to build the trust of the user. Then we have data minimization. This is like one of the foundational principle of data privacy. This means like, as it is very much clear from the name, this means organization, they should collect only the data which is necessary, just like collecting the minimum, only what is needed for a specific purpose. Like you see, collecting the excess information, if you are collecting more data, there is always the risk of breach, right? For example, let's say you are running a newsletter, and for that you only need users email address, right? And you need not to know their home address, or you need not to know their date of birth. So it's like just collecting minimum, or collecting only what is needed. That's why you can say minimizing this collection of data. Organization, they reduce the attack surface, and also it will build more trust with the user. So we have one of the practical approach to achieve this principle. Like, how can we do this? We need to regularly review the data which is collected. Like, organization, they should regularly review it, what kind of data they are collecting, and then keep on evaluating whether it is still needed, and then deleting later on when that data already has outlived its purpose. So I would say data minimization, it is not just a legal requirement. It's going to be a smart and security conscious practice. So in short, we can say less data collected, that is same as less risk involved if anything goes wrong. So that is all about data minimization. Then we have security part. So this principle, it will focus on taking appropriate technical measures or organizational measures to protect your data. See, it is not enough to simply say we store your data safely, we have your data safe. But organizations, they need to implement very robust controls. Like, they can go for encryption of the data. We have multi-factor authentication, we have the option of firewalls, and there must be regular security assessments. So the organization, they must use these security protocols, and there should be regular audits for this to maintain that security. And we have one more thing here. As we know that one size doesn't fit all. So same is the thing with the security. So security is not like one size fits all. Now, what does that mean? See, the level of protection that we are going to, the level of protection that we are using to protect some data, it should always match with the sensitivity of the data. For example, you have your medical data, or you have your financial data, right? This is really important data, and it demands much higher level of protection than any other kind of data. So failing to secure data like this, it can always result in some kind of regulatory penalties, and it can also break the trust of the customer. So taking security measures is very important here. Then we have transparency. This is also one of the key principles in building user trust. So you see, user should know what data is being collected and why it is collected. So it is simply being an open and clear with the individuals, like, about their data, what data is being collected, why it is needed or why it is being collected, uh, who is going to use it, like who it will be shared with further, and how long it will be with them, how long they're going to retain your data. So all these things are really important to be transparent. So transparency, as I said, it will help to build the trust of the user, and also it will help individuals to make some informed decision. For example, like, let's say you sign up for a new app. So you must have seen that privacy policy document. That is a big document, right? And this is not just about posting that privacy policy, but you see, everything that should be in plain and clear text. That document, that should explain in plain language, like what data it collects and how that data will be used. And they don't need to put that long document that no one ever is going to read, right? So everything, it should be in uh, clean and plain text, right? This is about transparency. The customer or the user should know about that privacy policy, it should explain clearly that what they are going to do with their data. And finally, we have user right, like they have right to access and delete. This is also a key part of data privacy. So individuals, they have the right to access their personal data. They also have the right to correct any inaccuracy. If they find any inaccuracy, they can ask for the correction, and they can also go for deletion. They can demand the deletion of the data under some conditions, right? This is basically known as right to be forgotten. And moreover, they can also object to use their data for certain activities, right? So you see, all these rights, they give user greater control over their data, right? So these are the key principles that need to be kept in mind while you are designing your system, right? In case of user right, let's say there are some laws. If user requests a copy of their data, the organization, they are bound to respond within 30 days, right? This is one of the law, right? And this is completely user right. And also organization, they should have clear processes in place, so that whenever these requests are coming, they are able to handle these requests efficiently and very respectfully. So these are some of the key principles. Then we have difference between data privacy and data protection. So see, when we talk about digital safety, we often hear these two terms together. So you might be thinking these two terms, they look similar, but they are actually not. They are actually two different things that work together. So we'll understand this with the help of an example here. Let's say, imagine you go for a health checkup. You go to a clinic for a health checkup, and you share your health details. Now, what do you expect here? You need to like you expect that this information that you're sharing about your health, you're sharing your health details. So you expect that this information should be in between you and your doctor. It should stay between you and your doctor, right? But imagine this data gets shared with the insurance company. Now what happens? They can use this information to increase your premium. Either they can increase your premium, or they can also deny you coverage based on that particular information. So that is complete violation of your privacy. Now you see here, data privacy and data protection, they are not same. So data privacy, it is talking about the access of the data, like who has access to your data and what they can do with it. This is your data privacy. But if we talk about data protection, it is about protecting that particular data from any kind of leak or hacking or any kind of misuse, right? So in data protection, we talk about the tools and technologies, we talk about the processes or the rules that will help you to save your data, right? It will stop the data from being stolen or being lost or kind of any exposure. So for that, again, to protect your data completely, you can go for some of these security protocols. We have encryption, firewalls. We can go for access control, right? We can use strong passwords for that. So data privacy, you can say it is simply like your data, your rule. But in case of data protection, we simply have to save it using the tools or technologies. It's like just lock it or encrypt it or guard it. That is the basic difference between data privacy and data protection. So now you see how these two are different things that go hand in hand, or how they work together. Okay, then data privacy, why it matters. We have been talking about what data privacy is, what are the key principles on which this data privacy is built on. But why does this data privacy matter so much? Like, why should we care who is going to collect our data or how it is being used? So We have several reasons for that. First of all, it protects your personal freedom and identity. See, when someone knows a lot about you, like your age, your habit, your location, maybe your health detail or financial data, right? So what can they what can they do with this information? They can either make assumptions, or they can even use it to manipulate your choices, right? So it is really important. Imagine you just search for mental health support online. You just search for that thing. Now you see, this information could reveal a lot about you, even if you're searching it for someone else. So if company shares this information with advertisers, or the company shares this information with the insurers, so it can always impact your future without your knowledge. So it is really important to protect your identity, to protect your personal freedom. Then it also helps in building trust between the people and organization. You see, when company handles your data with care, right? So you are more likely to use the services of that company. You are more likely to share more information with them, right? You want to stay loyal with that company. But let's say if there is some kind of compromise with your data, if there is any kind of data breach, so you find out that your data is being stolen, or you find out that your data was sold without your permission. So in that case, the trust is broken, and it is always hard to earn back. So people don't just buy products; they buy confidence in how their data is being handled. So it is important to build up trust between the users and the companies or the organizations. Then we have it supports ethical AI development. So we have to ensure that AI systems that we are going to build, they are built in such a manner that they always respect human rights, they respect their consent and their privacy. So we try to build those kind of systems. Then it prevents identity theft and fraud. So identity protection of identity is very important. This is, you see, one of the I will say most practical reason that why data privacy matters. Let's say if your personal data, especially your ID or your phone number or maybe bank details, right? Those This kind of information, when it ends up in the wrong hands, so what can happen? Either the hackers, they can use this identity to open, let's say, fraud accounts in your name, or they can even steal your money. They can also have the access to your health data. Basically, they can use to commit any kind of crime which is linked to your identity. So once the data is out, again, it is hard to get it back. So I will say protecting this privacy, it will keep you safe from any kind of cyber crime. And now, moreover, it is legally required in many countries. You see, governments around the world, they have realized how important data privacy is, and for that, like, they have passed various laws. We have rules and regulations like GDPR or CCPA. We are going to talk about this in upcoming slide, right? So we have these laws in place to protect your personal data. And finally, there is one more reason, like people, they are becoming more aware, they are becoming cautious. Like we are in the age where people want to know what is happening with their data, right? They have right to decide who can access their data. Simply like they need to have full control over their data. So privacy, you see, it's not just a technical concern now, it has become a human expectation. So privacy, I would say, it matters because people matter, and it is all about the respect and safety of an individual. All right, so now we have understood why data privacy is important, and also we know that governments across the world, they have realized its importance, right? For that, they have designed some laws. We have they have rules and regulations to protect this privacy. You see, in today's digital world, where data is constantly being collected and used, it is really important to protect that data, to safeguard the information. And also sometimes you can hold organizations accountable for like what they manage or how they are going to manage it. So for that we have these laws. So these laws basically, they will give the individual the rights such as accessing their personal data or correcting any kind of discrepancy, or if there is any inaccuracy, or even they can request for deleting the data, right? But at the same time, the organization, as I said earlier, they must be transparent about their data practices, like how they're collecting the data and why it is being used, the stuff like that, right? They should get valid consent from the user, and they should also go for implementation of these security protocols that we talked about. And you can say that failing to comply with all these rules or laws or regulations, they can result in hefty fines, or they can also damage the reputation of the organization. It can damage the brand trust. So ultimately, understanding and respecting data privacy law, it is not just a legal compliance, but it is all about building trust with the user. So we have all these data privacy laws in place. So around the world, you see different regions, they have implemented their own data privacy laws. For example, we have the first one as GDPR, that stands for Journal Data Protection Regulation. This is in European Union, and this is one of the most comprehensive law based on the consent, the transparency, and other data rights, right? It gives individual the full control over their data. Similarly, in US, California introduced CCPA, or it has CPRA, which stands for California Consumer Privacy Act, and also we have California Privacy Right Act. So this is for residents in USA. Then in India we have DPDP, which stands for Digital Personal Data Protection Act. In Canada we have Personal Information Protection and Electronic Document Act, which is PIPEDA. And in Singapore we have PDPA, which is Personal Data Protection Act. So you see, there is no single global data privacy law. Each country or each region, they have their own legal frameworks. But what is the difference here? Only the difference is in the level, like what is the scope of the data that is being used in each law. Also, there could be one more difference, like based on the various principles. As I explained earlier, in GDPR, it is based on the consent, transparency, or data subjects right. In California, the rights, the laws that we are talking about, they are just talking about the user rights to know or delete or opt out of that data selling, right? In India, the laws, which is DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, it will focus on consent based. So all these laws, they are based on one or more key principles that we talked earlier, right? So we have different level of data which is being included here, or we can have different level of enforcement or the authority power. So simply, you see, just like we have laws to protect our homes or money, or we have laws to protect our health, so these data privacy laws, they protect our digital identity. They are there to protect our digital identity. Then talking about digital privacy in AI era, the artificial intelligence era, right? We know AI is everywhere, right? It is all around us. For example, the apps we use in our daily life, or the smart assistants we talk to, like Alexa, Siri, or we use OTT platforms, right? In that, we always keep on getting recommendations based on our watch history, that is totally based on artificial intelligence. Also, it can help doctors with diagnosis. But you see, what really powers this AI behind the scene? This is simply the data, and this is lot of data, right? Because AI, it works on massive amount of data here, and most of the data that comes from us only, it is just our personal data. Again, we have names, locations, our shopping habits, we have health data, financial data, we have medical history, right? Even our voices and our faces. So that's why digital privacy in this age of AI, it has become a very big deal. You see, AI can be very useful. It can be incredibly helpful, but it also brings serious risk if we are not careful with how our personal data is being used. Let's say if AI system they learn from some biased data, so they will start treating people unfairly. Also, let's say if it collects the data without our knowledge, that's going to be the breach of trust. And moreover, if this data is stored without you say proper security, so it can become an easy target for the hacker. But we have a good news here, that people are they are becoming more aware. Like, we have evolving user expectations, so people are aware of how their data is being used. They now expect to know, like, what is being collected, how it is being collected, why it is needed, all those things. And this is where the trust comes in. If, let's say, people don't trust an AI system, they don't trust that, let's say, AI system is not respecting their privacy. So they won't simply use it, they will stop using it, right? So to build that trust, we have privacy by design feature. So we need to design AI systems with privacy in mind from the very start. What does that mean actually? Like, we have those kind of systems which are collecting the data which is just needed, right? Not the excess of the data. They are completely protecting our data, right? And they are giving user full control over their data. This approach is basically privacy by design. And on the top of that, we have various rules and regulations which are catching up. The rules, the various laws that we talked about, they're designed, or we have rules developed specifically to AI, right? Just to make sure that it is used safely and it is acting fairly. Around the world, we have legal and regulatory momentum, the laws, the various laws. You see, these laws or these regulations, they are not just the checkboxes, but they are just important for protecting our rights, our privacy, and I would say holding organizations accountable if anything goes wrong. And finally, we have a big picture of this point here, like data privacy. It is not just a technical concern, it's not a technical issue, or it is not about the compliance issue. It is all about the human dignity, safety, and trust. So we know, as AI grows, so we need to make sure that it respects our privacy in all the manner, and not just uses our data. As an individual, we need to be more aware. So this is all about data privacy in AI era. Finally, talking about the future of AI and data privacy. So we know, like, artificial intelligence, it is continuously growing, and it is becoming the integral part of our daily life. So you see, data privacy, it is going to be the key focus always. As I told you earlier, like artificial intelligence, it handles large amount of data, and that too personal data. So we need to ensure that this data is always protected, not just for compliance purposes, but just to build the trust of the user and their safety. So in future, we will see the kind of privacy preserving methods which are emerging, right? So first of all, again, we have that privacy by design principle. That means the models, they are designed in such a way like they are going to learn from the data without compromising individuals' privacy, right? For that, we have these methods like federated learning, differential privacy. So, what is federated learning here? Like, uh, whenever you're building a model, the data stays on your device. It is just the model updates which are being shared and not the complete background data itself. So, for example, if you are helping someone to learn cooking, right? So instead of taking the whole recipe book with them, taking your recipe book with them, what they need to do, they just need to be there. They need to learn and cook. They might note down that particular recipe, but they are not allowed to take your complete recipe book. So federated learning, it works in the similar manner. The models are learning, right? And the model updates, they are shared, but not the background data. The data will stay on your device. This is your federated learning. And then there is another smarter way to protect the data, which is known as differential privacy. This means like adding noise to the original data so that it can't track back to the individual. And this is also built directly into AI systems. And then we have another trend in rise, which is called synthetic data, where AI generates completely fake but realistic data, right? It is fake data set based on the real one. It looks similar to the real one, but it does not contain actual user information. So AI systems are there to create that kind of synthetic data. So that this particular technique, it will allow the companies to use the data without exposing real user data, right? So thereby making the data more safer. And for that, for these kind of techniques, we have various AI tools like FLAR, I have mentioned here. Uh, this is used for federated learning. We have mostly AI, OpenDP. This is for differential privacy. Then Gretel AI, it is used for synthetic data or it is used for creating synthetic data. Then we have Big ID and OneTrust. This is for compliance purpose. Then we have TensorFlow privacy, again, just to build up the privacy from the starting in AI system. So you see these tools, they automatically manage the consent or the transparency or the features like data minimization. Like they are built into those AI systems by default. And finally, we talked about those laws or rules and regulations. So in future, those laws or we have ethical rules coming up, which are becoming more tighter and even more strict than before. Then it's like shifting from data hoarding to data minimization. Again, sticking to one of those key principles, data minimization. So instead of keep on collecting the excess data which is not which is never needed, right? We shift to this data minimization technique, like collecting just what is needed. Further, privacy by design becomes the norm. We have discussed that earlier. Privacy by design, like AI systems, they need to build in such a manner that we have to keep that privacy thing in mind before the like from the very start, right? It's like, let's say, when you're building a house, right? So you keep on checking where you need to put up the locks, and not just after building the complete house. So privacy by design method, it works in the similar manner. So whenever we start designing AI system, so we need to keep that feature in mind from the very start or from the beginning itself. And then we have cross functional teams, like the teams, various teams across the organization, they should work together to build those kind of robust system which are based on like those key principles. They are always following that privacy rules. And finally, global privacy laws that we talked about, they need to be aligned in future. So what we can say about this future of AI and data privacy, this is, I would say, it is all about balancing that powerful AI system with user data or user privacy. You see, in the end, the goal is very clear. We have to harness the power of the data, but without any compromise, without putting people at risk, or giving users more control over their data, while still we have to enable that innovation. So this is how we handle data privacy in future in the age of AI. So we have learned like our data is our new identity, and it has to be protected at any cost. So I would say your privacy is your power. So always stay updated. Thank you.
All right, ma'am, that was a very powerful and enlightening session. Thank you for showing your and giving your expertise to our audiences. Now, everyone, this is your time to post your questions in the live chat. We already have received few questions. Ma'am will be answering them to you. So if you have any other questions, keep posting them in the live chat and we'll take them one by one. So, starting with the first question, ma'am, it says, how do global data privacy laws like GDPR or CCPA and India's DPDP differ in their approach to user rights and data handling?
Okay, as we discussed, like these laws, right, they are more or less similar, like they're based on various key principles. So they just differ by the key principles. For example, we talked about GDPR, right? It is based on consent, transparency, and other data rights. Like we talked about various principles: consent, data minimization, security, all those principles. So these laws, they differ by, first of all, those key principles. Like in India, we use DP, right? Digital personal data protection. So that is more focused on the consent. That is based on the consent principle. GDPR, that is based on the consent and as well as transparency. And one more thing here to be considered, in the various laws, there is different scope of the data. For example, in one of the law, they are going to handle customer data, or in other law, they are going to handle, let's say, employee data. So the scope of data is different. Also, it could be different in, you see, the authority level or the power that we have related to that data. So these are some of the key points based on which we can differentiate between those laws. And also, you see, these laws, they vary globally. Different regions,
Yeah.
they have their own data privacy laws. So yes, that's how we
Ma'am,
can differentiate
my
between
one
them.
question related to the thing that you told me, I was listening in the webinar as well. Like you have told, we don't have a global one data protection laws, or like we have UN for different things to address. We have Geneva Convention for different things to address. But in the age like this AI age, do you think do you believe that we should have a global law for data privacy?
No, that I don't think so that that's going to be possible kind of thing, right?
Okay.
Because as I said, different regions, they are going to have their own legal frameworks. So based on that, like they have their own population. Based on that, we can have various laws. So there cannot be one single global law for that.
Okay, thank you. Have another question. It says, explain the difference between data privacy and data protection.
Okay, so these two terms, they seem to be similar, but as I said, they are a bit different. So data privacy, that focus on like how, like who has access to our data, and who has access to our data and what can they do with it. But if we talk about data protection, that deals with these systems or the tools and technologies that are used to protect that particular kind of data, right? Like we are using security protocols, we can use strong passwords, like how we can protect that particular data. So that
Ma'am,
is the
whatever
difference here.
passwords we feed whenever we enter into an agreement, are they not compromisable with the, I would say, the companies or with the government servers or anything?
Sorry, can you come up again with the question?
Okay, ma'am. I say that as you mentioned that we can protect our data by mentioning the passwords or other things. So are those passwords compromisable with the companies or the government servers or anywhere?
No, there is a kind of technique which is known as MFA. You must have heard of that, multi-factor authentication, right? So yeah, so that is, I mean, along with the password we have one more level of security. Like you must have seen, while simply we log in into Gmail, instead of like after entering password, we have one more level of security, that might be your like face ID, that might be any security key. So it is not just the password that we are protecting with, but another factor comes into picture. That's why it is called multi-factor authentication. We are doing, like we are using one more level of privacy in this, right? And also we need to use always these strong passwords which are like hard to guess.
Okay, right. So there's another question. Is your personal data truly safe in the digital world?
Personal data, uh,
Truly safe in the digital world.
truly safe. Okay, this is what we all discussed here. That is actually not safe. We need to be more aware about that, that how we can always be aware about, like when we are sharing kind of data. Let's say when we fill online form or even we post on social media, so we don't know where that data is being, I mean where that data is going, so it is not always protected.
Okay. So another question says, can AI collect data from private conversation or messages? Almost like the last one.
Yes, yes, it can do, because if you talk about that kind of smart talking assistants like Alexa or Siri, they are actually always listening. For example, if we both talk about taking a new, I mean buying a new pair of shoes, right? We are just simply talking, but
Yeah.
in next 5 minutes you will see you
It starts
start getting
appearing on
ads.
the, yeah.
So they are always listening to our data. So that's
Okay.
why I said we are not secure, right? That personal data is not secure.
And as you mentioned about the Siri or Alexa, same thing like new that has come into the world is like ChatGPT. So we feed a lot of personal information in ChatGPT to, have answers, be it in the corporate world, be it in the personal world. So does it save all our data? Like if we are addressing anything to it?
Yes, it is the kind of generative AI system,
Yeah.
and as I said, AI is mostly, I mean, it is completely built on data, and that too our personal data. So whatever you are searching, whatever you are asking, let's say on GPT, Chat GPT, it is always saving your data, and it will save your preferences, and
Mm.
in future it is going to answer accordingly.
If we delete our account or something like this, so does that data gets vanished or is it stored somewhere?
It stays there actually. It is always there. So you see, whatever we do online, we are always going to leave a digital footprint,
Hmm.
and it is always there.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's have another question. How can individuals reclaim control over their personal information from corporations and government?
For that, we have various organizational laws. So based on laws, they can ask for their data. Like they have to, they can ask for their personal data. Or as I said, in one of the laws, we have the option of asking the deletion of the data. They can ask to delete everything from that particular organization, and organization like they're bound to do that thing.
Okay.
So it
Let's take
comes,
another.
it everything comes under that law.
Okay. Let's take another question. It says, describe the potential risk of AI system operating without data privacy considerations.
Okay, operating without
Data privacy
data.
considerations.
Okay, so it's like whenever AI is not considering or it is not protecting our data, so what can happen? As I said, it can lead to identity theft, and in your name, it can like your ID can be used to commit any kind of cyber crime. So
Okay.
that is one of the yeah, one of the, you will say, a disadvantage over there.
Okay. So,
If
ma'am,
your
there is
ID
an.
is lost, yeah. So based on your ID, on your name, like they can open fraud account on your name, they can steal your money, right? They can commit any kind of cyber crime.
Okay. So there's another question. How can we know if our data is being misused by an AI system? Is there any chance that we will know?
No, so according to me, like we'll know once it is already being misused, right? So from the very start, we need to be aware. Like
Okay.
we need to be more focused while we are sharing our data online.
Okay. So, ma'am, there is another question. It says, what is the encryption in the WhatsApp?
Sorry, can you please repeat that?
It says, what is the encryption format in the WhatsApp?
So, encryption, as you know, it is like converting the readable data into unreadable format so that only the concerned person can see that particular message or the data that we are intent to share. So it is same with the WhatsApp. Like we keep on sharing our text messages, or we have voice messages, or video. We do video calls. We have
Photos.
like lot of data, photos, videos, images, right? And if it
Mm.
is not encrypted, right? Because you see, we have the era of cloud computing as well. So everything is being stored in the cloud at the same time. Like you are linked with your, let's say you're using your Gmail account, right? So you're always linked with the Google Drive, one of the cloud options. So that's the storage option. So your data is always being stored on the cloud there, right? And let's say if that particular communication is not encrypted, again it those that data can be intercepted, and then later on it can be misused.
Okay. Then there is another question. Are AI generated recommendations a form of data manipulation?
It's the form of,
Data manipulation.
yes, you can say that, because you see, if we talk about, if we take the example of that OTT platform, so based on our watch history, we keep on getting recommendations. Also, let's say when you try to buy something online, right? We usually shop online. So
Exactly.
later on, we start getting those recommendations, like this kind of stuff will be suiting you, all those things, right? So yes, it is kind of
So overall, we can say that yes,
manipulating your choices.
it manipulates our choices. It is a
Yes,
kind of consumer oriented platform, like we would say.
yes, it will definitely manipulate your choices, because you see, at one point of time you are planning to buy, right? Then you drop that idea. Later on, when you start getting recommendations, right, you will think of, like, at one point of time you will always think of buying it again. So definitely it is manipulating the choices.
Okay. So I guess there's one more question. Explain the concept of privacy by design and why is it especially important in the development of AI system?
Okay, privacy, sorry, privacy by design means, like, whenever we are building AI system, we have to keep that privacy feature in mind before the very start. I give you the example. Let's say you're building a house. So while you're building, right, you will think of putting up the locks where you need to put up the locks in the entire house. and you will not think of that thing once the complete house is built up. So privacy by design works in the same manner. Whenever you have started building the system, you will keep that feature in mind from the beginning, so that once the system is ready, it starts collecting the data. So it is by default working on those key principles. It will always take the consent. Once the data is collected, it is always going to protect it. It will always collect the minimum data what is needed, right? So by default, starting from the starting, we need to design the system in that manner that it is following all the key principles of the data privacy. But like later on, we need not to do anything. From the start, it is just going in the same manner that we want it to.
Okay. All right. So with this, we have come to an end of this session. I know you guys have a lot of questions. Please drop them in the comment box, and ma'am will get back to you through this, or our team will get back to you. So before ending this session, ma'am, I would like you to give our audiences a one simple advice which they can use to protect their data with all these experiences that you have in your life and your professional experience, a one simple advice that we all can follow in this so much AI driven world and save our data.
Okay, I would say like you have to stay updated all the time, and you have to be more aware while you're using, let's say, social media. If you're posting your videos or photos, you need to be aware that once that data is online, like it will be shared, it will be stored somewhere, right? So accordingly, you have to put your data online. Once, let's say, you fill up some kind of online forms as well, so in that we just put our personal data, and that is too basic: your name, your phone number, email.
Email.
And that kind of data is, I would say, it is enough to track you back, like where you are right now. Because in mobile phone also, you have seen our location services are on,
Hmm.
so anybody can
Good.
track you where you are located right now. So you have to be like updated always.
So we can say with the advancement of technologies, the transparency is getting more and more. Is it right to say that, ma'am?
Transparency, yes, it has to be there. And there is one that I mean, that particular example we talked about, smart assistants. You see, they're
Hmm.
always listening, even without our knowledge they are collecting our data. So it is really important to stay cautious.
I guess for this also, the government has advised guidelines like whenever we are making a phone call, there is a voice note that is constantly being running in the background that if you are facing any cybercrime, report to this number. So the government
Yes,
is also
exactly.
active.
We have those laws for
Yeah.
that.
So you also have to be aware, as ma'am said, that awareness and staying updated is the first key to protect your data. With this, we have come to the end of this session. I would like to thank Ms. Shimpa for delivering such an insightful and enlightening webinar, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining Education Nest.
Thank you, Aishi, for having me here. That was really wonderful to be with you.
Same here, ma'am. And to you all, thank you so much for joining us today on this great webinar. And if you have any more questions related to our upcoming webinars or our corporate trainings, you can drop them in the comment box and we will get back to you. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe Education Nest. Till then, stay updated and I will meet you in the next webinar. Have a good day.